Welcome, welcome to Freaked Out with your psychic medium host, Liz. I have been dying to cover this case for so long in a big way, and I feel like we finally have the platform to do it, so yay. Welcome, truth seekers, to this extraordinarily bizarre case and chilling mystery. Now, this case defies logic, endless questions, and really leaves us guessing the very true nature of the identity of those involved. Learning what people can do to each other, human behaviors, all that stuff. It is like everything you can think of just rolled and sprinkled into one case. This case has had my head spinning like a top. So many layers, so many crazy things, but we're going to get to the bottom of at least part of this case today. Now, if you guys did not know, recently part 3 just came out on Max. It could be on other platforms right now as well, but on Max. So if you have not watched it yet, highly recommend. I'm not quite done that part of it, but working on it. And before we even get started on the Barnett part of it, we need to do the pre-Barnett stuff first. And I wanted to give you guys a little update of what is coming out over the next few weeks, because I think I've been doing a pretty good job of dropping these episodes for you. So obviously part 2 of Natalia, that's a given. We just dropped Sebastian Rogers, ergo my same costume. We're going to be doing a channeling session with Eileen Warnos and Landon on the exclusive side, so make sure to go and become a member so you can take a listen. And then we're going to also be doing Dee Dee Blanchard's channeling session. I cannot wait. Oh, and also Squid Games, the real Squid Games. Landon chose that one, so I'll be waiting for him for that one too. And by the way, please make sure to like this video. I love when I see those likes come up because it really does help this video get seen other places. And make sure to watch the whole video, please and thank you. Okay, let's pull back the layers of this complicated onion. First question, child or con artist? I mean, that is the question on everybody's mind, right? We'll get answering that question in just a little while. A lot of people have been asking, was Natalia really Anna's daughter? And did she give up her daughter like she said on the documentary? And the answer is yes. Anna is definitely her mother. She is telling the truth about what happened, but there's something very sinister going on when it comes to the doctors and the orphanage and selling children. There's a whole thing in the background. And I believe that because of her disabilities, Anna giving over the child's rights, I don't think she really understood that people were going to get money to kind of sell her off, sadly. And because mom didn't necessarily do prenatal stuff to take care of Natalia or even really know what was going on there, the doctor saw that the child needed better care and then looked at it as he was helping. But in reality, I think he was just getting himself a little bit more of a paycheck. But sadly, it is true. It would have been a difficult journey for her to take care of Natalia, but I don't think it would be impossible. And I really believe, and I see that if Natalia had stayed with her mom, her life obviously been way different. But in addition to being really different, I think that they would have been able to figure it out. Yeah, those doctors definitely get paid. And so do the orphanage people. Not all of the orphanage. It doesn't go to the orphanage, it goes in people's pockets. It's really disgusting, actually. And a lot of that is going on, black market type of stuff. So black market kind of adoptions, just Now, did anything concerning happen at the adoption agency in the Ukraine? And I'm going to say there were good things, but there were also bad things. The good, they helped her talk. They taught her how to speak. They did that purposely so that, when these kids meet their new American families, they know how to speak English. They focused heavily on her speech, which is why she was so fluent. They also helped her read and write. Not well, but, at her age level, was sent to America. So when Psycho Christine would make her write things down, I mean, she didn't have a lot of information. I really feel bad for the kid. She froze. Good luck getting anything out of a child like that. Now, the bad things that happened there. I do believe she was sexually assaulted. I also believe that in addition to being sexually assaulted, they also have like a connection to black market sex trafficking. And sometimes those kids are chosen to go that direction instead of going the adoption direction. And they sometimes test the children to see how well they do, see if they're popular. I know it's gross, but it's true. And I think she was, at least at the beginning, in that direction. And I do believe that she was assaulted by children and adults, male adults. And I believe, sadly, there are like very, very old videos back in the day on the black market with her as well. And maybe one day that'll get discovered. I hope not. I really do. I mean, that was before she even hit US soil. So, and I do believe that she had behavioral issues and she was inappropriate with other children, I would say, in these homes before the Barnetts. Now, when Diane had initially adopted Natalia, she was looking for another kid to have in her life, yes, but really very similar to Christine Barnett. She felt like she was doing good by her, but in reality, she really wasn't. She was just looking for a showboat, really. She also put, some money into Natalia's health care, and she wanted to be paid back for that. At this point, it was like she was trying to sell a puppy online. I believe that she was conning multiple people at the same time, even people that weren't even in the documentary. Like there were couples upon couples upon couples that were reached out to, little people mostly, because, it's a little person and she thought it would be more enticing for little people. And she was kind of thinking about Natalia to a degree, but if they couldn't meet the price, they weren't going to be giving that child up. So it was a lot of like hard realities. It was bullshit, in my opinion, and these people shouldn't have put her through any of this. I do believe that Natalia did get aggressive with their child, but I think their child also got aggressive with Natalia. So I don't think that's just a one-sided thing. But yeah, I do see behavioral issues. And these issues could easily be corrected. I just don't feel like they wanted to take the time to do it. Now, they went through the Florida adoption, but I think that this adoption center, I don't know. It's like, yes, it's an adoption center, but there's just some sort of element of underlined illegal activities. And the only reason the Barnetts were even chosen through this journey, which by the way, Michael made it seem like they just reached out to them on their own, but I don't know. I feel like they were in the talks when it came to Natalia. So I don't believe that part of it. I do believe that there were photos sent of Natalia before they met her as well. And I mean, no one lived in Florida other than the adoption agency. So, I mean, they had to make it a big trip. Like they couldn't just adopt the kid, take her home. No, they had to make it like a big thing. You know what I mean? Because they just have to make everybody look good, especially Christine. Unfortunately, Barnett's got her because they gave away the most money. They weren't rich by any means, at least at not this point, but I see that they had enough money to do this, blow this, do what they needed to do. I also want to mention that Diane's family did not physically abuse Natalia. I think it was more so neglect, and that also messed with her quite a bit. She was there for a couple of years, almost. Ideally, this child was the epitome of the black sheep. She just became a nuisance after a while, a lot of care needed, and they didn't realize how much care would be involved. People often abandon pets for behavioral issues, not children. And sometimes they go the different direction, like making them slave, which, I mean, we'll talk about that in part 2 with the Manses. But anyways, let's get into the Barnett chapter. I can tell you this. Natalia was not what Christine was looking for. And she realized that very quickly, maybe within the first couple of weeks of adoption, if not sooner. When Christine wants something, she usually gets it. So when things don't go according to plan for her, she snaps and everyone becomes the enemy and her wrath is heavy. Now, does anyone outside of her home get the wrath? No, maybe her family, but it's mostly Michael and sometimes the kids. Now, everyone, including Michael, were her lackeys, and that's exactly what she wanted. She got what she wanted in school. I even believe that she had a few moments with some teacher stuff going on too, if you know what I mean. Now, Michael met Christine and he instantly fell in love and he wanted to give her everything. His intention was to treat his wife like a queen. And he did try, but unfortunately, she took advantage of him heavily. I think she used her body a lot. Yeah. Now, I know she's cheated on Michael, but I would say it happened at least 50 different times with 50 different people. I feel like this was going on since pretty much the beginning of their relationship, which is crazy to me. I even believe that it's very possible that one of those children are not Michael's. By the way, have you guys seen all the crazy shit she posts on Facebook? She is still trying to convince people that she is not guilty. But in reality, regardless of you thinking she's an adult or not, so let's just play into your game for a minute, okay? She is an adult. She's still an adult with disabilities. She still needs to be taken care of. You took that on because of her condition. Her condition is very rare and she needs guardianship. Regardless of her being an adult or a child, she still needs it. You're a gross human being. You did not get conned by a little person. You're just mad because you didn't get what you wanted in the way you wanted to get it. She also believes that the reason that her son Jacob is a genius is because of her. Because God forbid she takes the credit for that. That's not how it works. And she got success because of Jacob being smart and makes this ridiculous book, which I've skimmed over and it's quite boring and bullshit and just filled with lies. I mean, as soon as she stopped needing Jacob, she dismissed him. As soon as he wanted to be with his father, have a relationship with his father, she cut him off. That is how cutthroat she is. She will cut her own children off that want to have a relationship with their father. No good reason. Jacob is so messed up over everything that happened. He's living in his dad's basement. This man was supposed to become something special and he hasn't yet because of what mom did. And mom got so much money. Just on the book alone, she got $600,000, not including anything else she got. When Jacob asks mom where this money is, oh, I spent it on moving to Canada. Are you fucking kidding me? No. You're a bullshit liar. That kid deserved that money, and I hope one day he sues her. I know he's still attached because that's his mom and he loves her and he doesn't want to throw her under the bus. But one day, I think it's going to happen. He was the only one of the kids that saw the brainwashing and could think things logically. And the younger boys, I mean, you guys are adults now. I know that mom is clearly brainwashing you, but we gotta get out of that mindset. I believe she has a lot of her money locked away. Savings, she's got her money and the money that belongs to Jacob she still has. Anyways, Christine decided that she wanted to use Natalia and she put parts of Natalia in that book too, but I mean that ended up getting taken out because all of this taking place. She thought that she could just buy a child and make them a genius, and that didn't happen, and that made her mad, which everybody got that wrath too. Now, the boys were ecstatic to have a sister. They always wanted one. But mom slowly isolated them away from her, and then she started talking shit about Natalia and making up stories and telling the kids to be mean and nasty to her, telling your own children to bully a child because you are believing your own lies. Now, the pubic hair stuff, I tell ya. When it comes to the pubic hair side of things, she may have had something there, but why everybody be looking, number one? And number two, I think that has more to do with her European background than actual development. I would say that she was just a hairy individual altogether. We all are. If you look up the European culture, unfortunately, we get all that hair. And the other thing too is each little person is going to be shaped different. Being a parent of a little person, including the family that came onto the documentary, kind of siding with the Barnett side of things, no, that's wrong. That poor child doesn't even know what she's talking about. And they made her interview too. And she was just a baby when that happened. Anyways, everyone's body structure is different. Not one little person's body is going to be the same as the others, regardless of the issues they had. They're not going to be identical. I do, though, believe that Natalia may have been a year older, maybe 7 versus being 6 years old, maybe 8 versus being 6, but I certainly don't believe that she was a full-blown adult or a teenager for that matter. You can even tell in her demeanor, she is a child. I don't care what anyone says. The Natalia we see now is an adult. That is adult Natalia. That's what Natalia would have looked like if in fact she was exactly the age Christine was claiming. Now, Christine started to resent her more and more, and she likes doing this thing where she makes a target enemy and then everyone has to be on the same page with targeting that enemy, and that's what was happening here. And if you didn't follow along, she would lose it. I believe she beat Michael. I don't think she beat her sons too much. I really don't see anything like that. But Natalia, definitely, I see the abuse a lot there. So they were not lying on that. I do believe that Natalia may have had a couple of like butter knives under her bed, but I don't get the vibe that she was trying to hurt or harm anyone. There is a possibility. It is possible that she had a knife in her hand, but it was for a brief moment, and she was pissed off. She was isolated, and she was also being abused and thrown downstairs and hurt, and like all these crazy things were happening. Christine Barnett was trying to find certain things to do to hurt her. They were trying their hardest to like, okay, we're going to do this, that, and the other. Like, I really believe that because the institutional stuff didn't go in the direction they wanted with that whole fake dairy farm thing they did, but because that didn't happen, that's when the aging up side of things took place. But even before that, I think she was trying to kill her. Christine became obsessed. Yep, nope, she's an adult. Make her stand up against the wall like the abuse is unreal. And I really believe that she caused a lot of damage to Natalia. And I think that Christine should be held responsible for that. And I hope Natalia one day sues her for that. I even feel like the comments about her being an adult just started off as a joke. And then Christine was like, no, let's make this happen. Now she's got like a lawyer friend that she talks to all the time to get advice. I don't think it's the current lawyer that she has representing her, but I just keep seeing a lawyer that she would go to and they would say, you got to do this, that, and the other. And she would totally listen to everything they would say. And she also had a lot of connections. And I believe even the doctor that she got to sign this, I mean, I feel like there was a relationship there too. Could quite even be something, you know what I'm talking about, that kind of stuff. Anything she would say, he would do. And I think that that guy should also be suspended, checked out. I don't know why no one's taken away his license. Hopefully all of those things happen. Now, Natalia, as a kid, didn't understand all of the things that happened to her. And when people ask her questions, I mean, it's the equivalency of asking what took place during a rape. Like, you have to be very sensitive to those things. And Christine just throwing questions at her wasn't going to get her to open up one way or another. And I don't necessarily think she quite understood everything. She just went through a lot of emotions being her little young self and thinking, wow, wow, wow. But she just wanted to continue to keep trying to impress them as much as she could. And she did have behavioral issues, which did cause a lot of problems at times, but ultimately could have been corrected if anyone had taken the time to really help her. She did try to get a lot of attention quite a bit and would act out. And I feel like everyone just ignored her one way or another. Even the urinating on the bed and the kids throwing her down the stairs, like there's just a lot. There are also a lot of things that the kids didn't even witness. Even Michael didn't witness that she did to these that she did to Natalia. And the pepper spray, I agree. I think that happened. I even feel like there was a burn, something to do with a burn mark. I also feel like the whole bleach thing, I mean, that didn't happen at all, even a little bit. But I'm also seeing that like she tried to like poison her as well. And she gave her medication, like just crazy shit happened, like so much. There's so many details, it's super overwhelming. She also started making up stories that that Natalia was stealing the kids' toys. Like, I mean, come on. Kids do that to each other. That is not an unnormal thing. Even if Natalia did take the toys, oh, their favorite Hot Wheel cars, like, so what? So what? Like, get over it. Like, you tell the child not to do that and you move on. Now, let's talk about that dairy farm situation. You can even hear the employees going, like, I mean, this situation got turned into some really hyped, escalated thing. And I agree with them. This was just, I believe that this was planned from the very beginning. They knew they were going there. They wanted to make Natalia have a moment where she causes problems so that they can send her off. I believe that she set this whole thing in motion, told the boys to go ahead. She was going to hang out with Natalia, and she made this whole thing up. And I think that she said things to Natalia to get her riled up so that it made it look like she hurt her. She wanted a big scene and she wanted a lot of witnesses. And I think she was advised by her lawyer to do that too. These poor kids have been brainwashed to think that their mother is an innocent victim. In reality, she is far, far from it. Con artist, really. Abuse of power. You know, as crazy as Michael is, I think Michael is as crazy as he is because of her. Now, I'm not defending him. He did crazy shit too. He doesn't know how to handle his emotions, but I think that he's got a bigger heart than she does at the very least. He was definitely trying to be a good dad and a good husband to her, and he didn't think they would ever split up and yada, yada, yada would happen. Like, I think that he thought that he was going to be with her for life, so he gave in to her every whim, every time. He also wanted to be on her good side, because if you weren't, you would get the wrath of her, and she would do silent treatment, withhold sex, like money, power, abuse. Like, I even feel like she hit Michael a few times as well. Now, what did Christine make her children do to Natalia? I mean, I see that the kids would tell her to go away, not play with us, throw things at her, hit her, push her, shove her. And she would cry out to Christine that this was happening, and she'd be like, I don't believe you. And she saw it happen. She just told the kids, good job, good job. She's a bad person, so this is good. This is good behavior. Great parenting. She told everybody that Natalia tried to kill her, when in reality, I think it was the other way around. And not only did all three of these kids pee on her bed, but like, they tried to prevent her from like going to the washroom. Like they messed up her stuff. Maybe they even cut her hair, because I see her hair was cut a couple of times. And I'm thinking maybe one of them took a scissors to her hair at some point. Now, when she was thrown down the stairs by Jacob, no one tried to help her. And I do see her crying in the corner by herself. I do see that Michael did check on her, but he got in trouble for doing that too. And yes, there was a couple of instances where I feel like Michael did physically get involved with her, but I don't feel like it was severe. I would say it was very minor in comparison to anything she did to her. And it's really crazy because, you know, looking at her Facebook and seeing all these people like defending and supporting her, I'm just like, what's wrong with you? You literally have no heart. People don't want to believe that she's a child, because if they do, it makes them accountable. It makes them accountable because they're like, well, I saw a child suffering. I should have done something. It's easier to believe that she's adult, because that way there's no accountability on them. Even the neighbors, that apartment complex that she moved to, shame on every single one of you. Some of you knew. Some of you knew deep down inside that she was a kid, but you didn't care. You just claimed because it was said she was an adult. Well, that means she's an adult. What could the neighbors have done to help? I mean, they could have done a lot of things to help. They spent enough time complaining about her. Maybe one person just step aside and be like, okay, let's find out what's really going on. I would have questioned her, befriended her, questioned her, asked her everything, invite her over to eat. Like, I would have done so much to get this information out of her. And if she felt like she could have trusted somebody, and I'm not talking about being neighborly and offering somebody a sandwich, I'm talking about sitting down and having a real genuine conversation, I'm sure she would have eventually opened up, at least to a degree. That's what I feel. But no one did that. And they won't feel bad. They don't feel bad because they're like, nope, she was an adult. I'm convinced. Like, it's really gross. I see that there were moments when she was in that complex that there were some shady characters running around that were super inappropriate with her. And I am also seeing someone that did. Yes, she said something about somebody trying to make her watch porn. I see that absolutely happening. I do believe that she got out of there before things got worse, but I mean, she was exposed to so much. Now, Michael had been asked if Christine had ever checked up on her. I'd say Christine went like twice, maybe 3 times, but I don't even feel like she went in the house. I think she might have gone in the house like once, but more so she picked her up one day, and that was only because that call came in, and she cleaned her up and fixed her hair to make sure that, she looked good. But she keeps saying she was there. Like, why do you keep lying to people? You obviously didn't want to be anywhere near her. You thought she was an adult. Stop lying. Like, own it. Own your shittiness. Now, Natalia had mentioned that there was a point in time where Christine did give her medicine 3 times and she passed out. Did this happen? Yeah. I believe this happened a few times, actually. One time when she was out of the apartment, but also in the house. I feel like she medicated her at times, to hurt her, but also to keep her quiet and shut her up and all of these other terrible, horrible things that people shouldn't do to other people. Michael always keeps making this claim like, oh, we had to get her out. She was 21. She was 21. Well, your son is 21, over 21 actually. And it looks like all of your kids live at home still. Jacob living with you. Why was it not okay for Natalia, the disabled child, to live with you? It makes no fucking sense. I know. She fooled you too, Michael. And there are parts of Michael that still defend her, which I think is bullshit. But I think one day he might open up a little bit more about that. Michael got away with his case because they couldn't even talk about the fact that she was, a child. And then Christine's case didn't even go anywhere. It was dismissed because it's bullshit. She should be behind bars right now for neglect and child abuse. And I don't think she's obviously going to be going to jail. But I think that she should at least be sued financially. I feel like it would be very beneficial. I think that's going to happen one day. I think Christine will be sued financially. I also think Natalia is going to win it. Christine doesn't give 2 shits on how it affected this child. She doesn't care about how she grew up, nothing. She's just stuck in her ways because she is one hell of a stubborn ass woman. Even the neighbors just automatically believed her. And people say, oh, they're really good. They're really good at deceiving people. I mean, one way or another of deceiving, you should probably check into it. Make sure they're like, is this person really lying? You know what I mean? This is a really bizarre situation. I have to start questioning it. Everyone took Christine's word for it. Everyone. So what's going to happen to Christine and Michael? Now, obviously, I don't feel like they're going to get back together or nothing like that. But I just feel like there's still some things that they have yet to figure out. And I feel like they might even do a 20/20 interview where we hear both sides at the same time, something. Christine's got to get paid the big bucks before she'll do anything drastic. She's like that popular girl in high school. Everyone just want to be her friend for whatever reason. I also think Michael still wants her approval to a degree. He wants her to have him in his life a little bit. There's just something there that still has a little of attachment to her, and he's still protecting her. But there's going to be some things she says that's going to come out eventually, and that's going to piss him off. And I think he'll just start chit-chatting a little bit more about her. I also want to put out there that there is a show that is going to be called The Good American People, The Great American People. I'm not exactly sure. It's going to be starring Meredith Grey, Ellen. She's actually a producer of this show, and it is going to be about Christine Barnett and Michael Barnett and their perspective of this child that is not a child. They're going to put this narrative out there in a crazier way. It's all false. Christine posted it on her little Facebook page. I can't wait for people to hear my story. No, we don't trust you. You are a gross human. Nobody's gonna believe you. It's something we're gonna laugh at. And again, I'll be here with part 3, just tearing it apart. By the way, she also says, people think my family's guilty. No, honey. Nobody thinks your family's guilty. People think that you are guilty. People think that Michael is guilty. Not your kids, you two, you adults. Now, when it comes to Natalia, I know that there's a lot involved with her on the prediction side of things, but I think I'm going to save that for the next episode. But I do want to say that there's going to be a lot more that happens with this case, more things coming out. Even the show that they talk about, I cannot wait to rip it apart because there's just going to be so many lies involved. So I can't wait. Freaking Meredith is actually going to play Christine Barnett. Like, this should be so, like, it's going to be crazy. Wow. But anyways, guys, that's all I have for you on this episode today. I just wanted to make damn sure that everybody knew that this woman is a lying sack of you-know-what, and that Natalia, although not perfect, but innocent in this situation. But we'll talk about her more on part 2. And FYI, guys, we'll be back next week. I cannot wait to share. We've got so many great episodes coming. Eileen Warnos is the next one we'll be working on, and Landon will be here for that. So make sure to become a member on the exclusive side if you'd like to see that next week. Until next time, guys, stay freaked out.